Hello everyone, welcome back to my first update on my very first saltwater aquarium. It's going into week number 2, about day number 9 since I set up my tank, and as you can see, there's a lot of diatoms on my rocks and my sand bed and everything, my sand bed. As an update, to what has gone on since my last video, I've been feeding my tank fish food since about day number 1, day number 2, to try and build up ammonia in my tank to help with the cycling process, to build up those bacteria, those beneficial bacteria, and to help with the nitrogen cycle. What I noticed was when I tested my tank on day number 5, to hopefully, I was hoping that there will be a buildup of ammonia, but on day number 5, after feeding my tank for about 5 days, I had still 0 ammonia in my tank. And but actually what happened on day number 5 was that's when the diatoms popped up, and I also had at the time I discovered that I had really high nitrates. My nitrate levels were pretty much on the high end of the chart of the test kit, and I was stumped. I was like, why did my tank have still no ammonia, or no detectable ammonia at all, and yet it had high levels of nitrates? And what I was thinking was that the rocks and the sand I got from a person who had it in his aquarium for several months at least. So I was thinking that the rocks and the sand, I didn't prepare them in any way. I kept them in my garage until I was ready to set my tank. So I was thinking when I rinsed them off, I put them in the water, that the rocks and the sand leached nitrates back into my water. That's what I was thinking spiked my nitrate level, and yet my ammonia level wasn't detectable at all. So that's what I thought had happened. But as I kept feeding my tank, and up until like even now, day number 9, I still have no detectable levels of ammonia, and my nitrate levels are still high. I did do a 25% water change today. I changed about 15 gallons. In my system, I have about 60 gallons of water, so I did a 25% water change, which helped with the nitrate levels. But I was just thinking to myself, maybe my tank had cycled, and the reason why I thought that was the sand. I thought that was the key. The sand I had gotten from the person I purchased the aquarium from, like I said. However, unlike the rocks, which I kept dry in my garage, the sand was kept in bags, in plastic bags, so they were still moist from the aquarium water, and being kept moist, I was thinking maybe they acted like live sand. Maybe the bacteria in them was still alive. So in essence, when I placed the sand back in the aquarium, it actually had the bacteria loaded up in there and ready to go, from the previous aquarium. So that's what I'm thinking. Anyone else with thoughts on the matter on how after only 9 days my ammonia level is still reading pretty much nothing. At least nothing that the test kit can pick up, and my nitrates were elevated. So I'm thinking that maybe the sand acted as live sand, cycling my tank really quickly. I hope that's what has happened. And because a few days ago that I was going on that assumption, so I added a fish. I don't want to be mean to him at all and have him suffer. So I'm testing the water parameters at least daily to make sure that the ammonia doesn't go up at all with his presence. And so far it hasn't. I've added him 2 days ago. I fed him regularly, and ammonia level still, it's not registering on the test kits at all, which I'm glad. I'm glad. So maybe my tank had cycled. Maybe I do have the beneficial bacteria from the sand in there. I hope that's true. I hope that's what's happened so far. So where's the little fishy? So so I'll keep a close eye on the tank parameters to make sure he doesn't come into any harm. I do have another interesting thing is, if you can see on that rock right there, I have some bubbles forming. I also have some bubbles forming on that rock there and that rock there. And on the sand bed itself, most of it has disappeared already, but there are places where the air bubbles are still present on the sand bed. If you can see it around there. Also, more importantly, what you can see is on the side where the sand bed is visible, you can see those little pockets. When I clean the glass of the diatoms, I actually bumped into the sand bed, and those things, those pockets of air escaped into tiny bubbles escaped the sand bed. So those are actually pockets of air or gas. So watching other videos on YouTube, I think those are nitrogen gas, formed by bacteria breaking down nitrates deep in a sand bed or any place where there's low oxygen levels, maybe deep within the rock or deep within a sand bed, forming nitrogen gas from the nitrates. So apparently, I think, unless there's other ways that this type of bubbles can form, I'm thinking that the bacteria that breaks down nitrates to nitrogen gas is present in my aquarium and is apparently working. So I'm happy, I'm glad. I hope that's the case, which I guess is another indication to me. It seems like that the cycling process is come along pretty well. So I hope that's another indication that that's true. I'm still new at this. I have no idea, but because of that, because of the fact that my ammonia level has been still nothing that the test kits can pick up, I'm hoping, and after over a week of feeding and having a fish in there for a few days, I'm hoping that my tank had already cycled, but we'll see. I'll keep a close eye on my ammonia levels. I'll keep a close eye on my nitrates, and make sure that that the ammonia doesn't spike. And I'll keep the nitrates under control by doing at least weekly water changes of 25%, and continuing to test my my parameters for the next couple weeks. I've already added a sea cucumber there and a hermit crab there and a few snails to help clean up the algae. I hope that that was a wise idea at this point, trying to get a cleanup crew going over here so they can help clean up the tank. I know it's going to be a while before this diatoms disappear, but I'm hoping that that they'll go away eventually. I hope so. And yeah, so that's the update. Surprisingly, I hope that that my tank was able to cycle in a little over, or in about a week's time. That I don't know if that's a ridiculous expectation or what, or my theories are really off base or whatever. Please leave comments below on what you think about what's happened to my tank. Maybe other people have experienced the same thing, or any other theories on what's going on with my levels of my the things I've been testing on and everything. Okay, well, that's it for this update. I'll continue to check my parameters, do weekly water changes, and I'll check back in a few weeks and give you guys more updates. Thank you for watching again.